is crazy.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know who's B, it's your girl KylerB coming at you with a new video. So today we're going to be talking about the Traitors US Season 3, Episodes 1 through 3. Let's get right into the video because this season started out with a big bang. Okay, before I even get into these episodes, let's talk about the format. This season is basically like a all-star reality cast, you know, with like some here or there, like, you know, we got a celebrity sibling, and then we have, you know, they always add in like some type of British royal, you know, type of relative essentially in, you know, these games, which is like, okay, like you got the Traitors of like celebrity cast, and then like some random British, you know, royal, you know, type of like 3 cousins removed, whatever type of relative in there. So it's like, oh okay, you know, good cast. But we start off with a bang. You know, everybody comes up to the castle, they meet Alan, whatever. First person out the gate, Alan brings up Boston Rob under a cloak. Basically, he said, if you shake my hand, Boston Rob can come in. And, you know, everybody, you know, whoever shakes my hand is going to have to eliminate one of the people. So no one shook Alan's hand. That means Boston Rob didn't get to enter the games before, you know, choosing of the Traitors or who the Traitors were to be. So there we have it. I think Carolyn wanted to shake Alan's hand, but she didn't want to be the only one to do it. So there we have it. Also in this first episode, Brittany and Danielle kind of have like little heart to heart because Brittany kind of like backstabbed, or, you know, Danielle, I think it was like BB Reindeer games when they were on together, and you know, she made the wrong move taking out Danielle or whatever, betraying Danielle, and then it kind of like got her sent out of the games. So, and you know, they kind of haven't talked since then. So, you know, this was their chance to speak, and, you know, she like forgave her, but obviously we're on another, you know, game where deception and lies is being had. So I will forgive you, but I'm not gonna forget it. So moving on, everybody's just in the castle getting to know each other, whatnot, so forth and so on. We have your housewives, we have, you know, a couple BB stars, we have, you know, Survivor, you got Jeremy, you got was it Tony, Boston Rob could have been in, and then you got Carolyn. So there we have it. So I'm not going to really dwell on the challenges because, you know, the challenges are not necessarily the biggest part of the game. Is really like the you know, the strategy and the game talks and like the moves that they're being made in the castle, and as well can also tie it into the game, whatever. But we're going to talk about these strategy moves. So after that challenge, you know, 8 people were up for grabs. There was no round table discussion, no banishment that night. So, you know, the other team had the shield to not get killed. So with that being said, they get to the round, you know, the Traitors, they get up to the turret, you know, they're chatting, they finally meet each other. You know, Bob the Drag Queen and Danielle were the first ones in turret. They were like so hyped. They're like, oh my gosh, did you knew it was me or whatever? They didn't know because they were actually playing really good games. And then Carolyn joins them. So they had to do the first kill. So
I'm not thinking 20. That's how I play. Carolyn as a traitor makes me nervous. She's all over the place. She's very sporadic. So we'll see how this. Every decision you make. I'm not trying to be rude right now. Wait, listen to me. You haven't played this.
And everyone's not made for the graveyard shift. Carolyn and Danielle cannot agree on anything, but because I'm kind of a drama queen and I love drama, I'm going to sit back and enjoy the show.
The debate between them was that they didn't want to Dorinda, because the thing is, Dorinda was having like an issue with, I think, Ivar. That's his name, Ivar. And because after the challenge, like, she sacrificed, and then Ivar didn't want to sacrifice, whatever. But with that being said, they're like, you know, I think Bob the drag queen and, you know, Danielle was like, oh, let's kill Dorinda because like she's very, you know, loud. But Carolyn was like, no, Dorinda could be a shield because she's very vocal, she's very loud, she can use that as a scapegoat, whatnot and so forth. But they're like, no, don't kill. They're like, no, kill Dorinda and Cinderella. Well, like it was between the housewives. It was between Dorinda, Dolores, and Robin. And they went with Dorinda. They could have went with Robin right there out the gate because Robin wasn't gonna, you know, was like the outlier of that trio, you know, housewives group. So yeah, with that being said, they kill off Dorinda as the first kill. Okay, so we get to the breakfast table, and everybody's killed, whatever. Corlin was just kind of just like not really with the killing off Dorinda, but it is what it is. The plot twist was that Alan was like, oh, you thought you could get rid of Boston Rob? No. So because they didn't choose to rid Boston Rob, they bring 3 more people into the castle, which was Boston Rob, Wes from the challenge, and Derek from BB16. Which I'm just like, they got basically brought 3 guys basically who has like the same type of character type. Anyway, back into the game. So Alan basically makes Boston Rob a traitor, the 4th traitor. So we have 4 traitors now, and then plus Wes and Derek. So in the next challenge, they had to basically like win some money to like lower them 3 from their cages, because they were in cages, like, you know, strung up in cages. So, and the only way to lower them is that they have to find coins and gold pieces to like lower them down. So most people, they decided to like be really nice to Boston Rob because like they kind of did him dirty in the first one, so they're kind of like suck up to him. The next person was, you know, Derek, and then the next person was Wes. Because I'm like, I don't think anybody from the challenge is there in the cast except for Wes. Danielle was very happy that Derek was there, and I think Derek was, you know, I think he rocks with Danielle, so, you know, that she has somebody on her side as well. And then you have Boston Rob, who was a part of Survivor, so they're there. But, you know, nobody really wanted Boston Rob because, you know, he's won Survivor twice. Like, he's really good at these types of games. Like, you know, they're kind of not really going to trust him in this game. So with that being said, we got something on our hands, because going into the next going to the next round table, when they lower Wes, Derek, and Boston Rob, they had 3 shields, and they could give their shields to anybody to be safe from, you know, murder by the traitors. They gave shields to Jeremy, you know, Dylan, who is Dylan Efron, Zac Efron's brother, and I believe, who was the third one? Tony. Boston Rob gave it to Tony. So there we have it. That was the 3 shields given away. They're safe from murder. Derek gave it to Dylan because he needed somebody like else, because like you can't just be like, oh, Big Brother, Survivor, Strong, whatever. You have to like make connections outside of like your like little tight knit group. It wouldn't have worked. So he decided to like, you know, stretch out his like, you know, resources, like his alliances a bit, which was smart. Like he decided to like, you know, make an alliance with Dylan, and he gave it to Dylan. Tony, he got his from Rob, and then Wes got his from Jeremy. So because he's like, you know, Survivor is really strong, I'm gonna stick with Survivor if I want to win through this game. So that's how it went. So they went to the round table. They were able to be at the round table, but they didn't have a chance to vote, and they didn't have a chance to be banished or murdered for that night. So with that being said, at the round table, they suspected Wes.
That is who I am.
Well, that's convenient, but we're playing a game.
Fine. You can try to put that.
I didn't do it for a game.
Well, you get to accuse me, so
I wasn't accusing you. I just told you there were things that were off with you. I'm not accusing you, but we don't have a lot to go off of.
What is it right now?
I think Robin and Wes had like a little bicker back and forth, because they're like, oh, killing off Dorinda, you know, is pretty smart. That's what Robin said. And then Wes was like, you know, why would you defend the traitor's move? Like, you know, why you're saying that's smart. I think that's really dumb. But they're like, no, it's smart to kill off Dorinda because they would like, oh, blame it on, you know, one of us. So he kind of thought that Robin was a traitor. So it got back and forth. So at the round table, that was basically the topic of discussion. Like they were thinking it was Wes. So unfortunately, they banished Wes. Like it was kind of messed up. Like it got flipped on Wes. So Boston Rob gets into the turret. He finally meets the other 3 traitors, whatever. So they already killed Dorinda. So the next kill, you know, you got Bob the drag queen talking about he wants to kill another housewife. So between Ian, Dolores, or Robin. So Carolyn, and Danielle was like, no. Even Boston Rob was like, you know, no. Like, killing off another housewife is like so messed up. Like, why would you do that? Like, why would you keep on killing off housewives? It's like, it's kind of getting stale real quick, real fast. Like, why are we killing? As soon as we get into the to Traitors, we're already killing off housewives. Like, why are we doing that? After the first housewife, you can be like, okay, pause, like let it chill, let it simmer, like let it simmer a bit, you know. But if you kill off the housewife, what is your alibi to fall back on? You're saying you're killing off, you know, Ion because, you know, you suspect Ivar. You can pin it on Ivar, or you can pin it of a housewife killing off a housewife to, you know, taking them off their scent. But I'm just like, no. Like, you know, but Bob the drag queen, he got his way because he ended up killing off Ian. Like the biggest mistake that, you know, Bob the drag queen did was that he didn't really like let Boston Rob say like who would he want to, you know, murder essentially in the Traitors. You know, him taking over and saying, oh, gotta do another housewife, that was a dumb move. Like, why would you kill off another housewife? So they were like, oh, well, then we gotta do Brittany. But why would you kill off Brittany? Like, why would he do that? Because everybody knows that Brittany and Danielle had a little bit of beef. Well, not essentially, but like, you know, they kind of had a little something from the last game show that they did. So killing her off would, like, this early on, would just not be, you know, sensible. Like, not right now. So anyways, and that's basically a number for Danielle for now, because, you know, Brittany's trying to like basically be in Danielle's good graces, essentially. So, you know, Corlin, Boston Rob, even Danielle was like, Rob, what are you doing? Like, not Rob, Bob, what are you doing? And, you know, essentially they were like, they, you know, simmered down to Ion, Dolores, and Robin. Carolyn, she doesn't really want to argue so much because she's just like, yeah, we're not really being a united front as traitors, but because I don't really want to argue and bicker with you guys, I would just like, you know, come to an agreement and just like continue on. So she did that with Dorinda, and then they did that with Ion. So they killed off Ion, and she's dead. So the thing is that when we get to the the breakfast table, Danielle, she needed to simmer down on the chatter, because I heard at the breakfast table talking about like, you know, oh, you know, I wouldn't do that, or if they killed Brittany, they wouldn't put it on me, Like, saying all of that at the breakfast table was just a little bit too much chatter. And then later on, I think Dylan, he caught Bob's tea. He was just like, oh, you know, you decided to pitch Wes at the round table, and then you later switch your vote and you pick somebody else. So, you know what? I'm on to you, Bob the drag queen. So, anyways, they go to the challenge. They had a little challenge. But Jeremy, the first thing he says before the challenge was he talks to Carolyn, and he tells Carolyn, like, watch out for Danielle. So you have Jeremy who's onto Danielle, like basically keep sussing her out. And you have Bob, the drag queen, getting sussed out by Dylan. So it wasn't a good look. So after the challenge that they had, you know, Jeremy is basically saying like, you know what, watch out for, he's telling like whoever he was in the car with, like, watch out for you know, Danielle. I believe her crying from the first challenge, whatever, like, I just don't believe her, like, watch out for Danielle. So Bob the drag queen was in the car. As soon as he got back to the castle, he ran up to Danielle like, yo, your name's getting floated around, like, you know, like, gotta keep it on your P's and Q's, your name getting floated. So I think Carolyn comes into the room. She asks her, like, hey, did, like, Jeremy said anything? And then she basically fessed up because before the challenge, Jeremy told her to watch out for Danielle. So she asked Carolyn. Carolyn basically said, yeah, your name was floated by Jeremy. So you got two people basically saying, like, I heard your name from Jeremy. So then later on, we have Dylan basically saying, like, Bob the drag queen, yeah, it's not looking good for him. I think two people, I think was Bob the drag queen getting sussed out by Dylan, and I think, is her name Gabby? She was also saying, like, you know, you're kind of sus or something like that. Somebody was kind of sus. I think it was Ivar or whatever, being kind of sussed out. So we have two people from in the Traitors, who's a part of the Traitors, getting sussed out. And then, like, Boston Rob, he's like, you know, it's too early for one of my, you know, fellow teammates, you know, people who's on my team, being, like, booted off right now. Like, before that even happens, like, let me go save them. At the round table was basically be a fight between Bob the drag queen and Dylan. He was just, like, basically calling him misguided, like, no, you're wrong, like, I am not. And because no one really would suspect Bob the drag queen to even be a traitor, like Gabby, like Robin, they, like, kind of, like, you know, even Jeremy is like, oh no, he's not gonna be a traitor, he doesn't even have a traitor bias, like, he's actually doing pretty good. But I think Dylan got his tea, which I'm just like, he is onto something, because everybody's, like, basically like, oh no, why he wouldn't be a traitor? Like, no, because that's how Bob is. But the thing is that you need to tone it down, Bob. I think Jeremy having Danielle's tea is kind of messed up though, because I'm just like, besides her round table, her breakfast table, like, little outbursts, she wasn't doing too much though. She wasn't doing too much. But, you know, there, you know, she's getting sussed out. He's basically saying her name to people, whatever. So at the round table, like, you know, Bob was eating Dylan up. Ivar's name was getting floated around there. And then Tony, Pete from Survivor, since he's kind of, like, a little bit ruthless, whatever, they think Tony is the one killing off the housewives. So basically, I think it's Ivar. Is it Ivar or Bob Harper? He basically was like, oh, Tony, why don't you volunteer to be first? And it's just like, why are you singling out Tony? Like, what makes Tony be the one to go first? Because they were supposed to pick somebody to go first or to start the challenge, and nobody wanted to volunteer themselves. So they're like, oh, Tony, why don't you volunteer? So Tony felt some type of way about it, like, why are you singling me out? Like, what's going on here? So Tony, he begged to be a traitor, but he isn't. So he's like, has to, like, show people, like, yo, I'm really faithful, I'm really on your side. Rob gave Tony a shield so he wouldn't have gotten killed. And then, you know, they're, like, sussing him out, like, oh, you're killing off Dorinda, you're killing off Ion. So, like, it has to be you. So Gabby was thinking it was Tony, you know, Robin thought it was Tony, you know, everybody basically singled out Tony. And then the nail in Tony's coffin essentially was Boston Rob. He was like, oh, I gave you a shield yesterday and you haven't even come up to me or, like, spoke to me or whatever. And it's kind of, like, weird, like, you haven't even, like, tried to have a conversation with me. So he just, like, you know what, seems a bit sus. So that put the nail in his coffin, because he didn't even have to speak up. It could have been, like, a little tie between Bob the drag queen or Tony, but he put that nail in his coffin, and it was like, it just went Tony. So Tony goes up, he obviously says that he's a faithful, and then he says to, you know, Boston Rob, you're a sellout. And it was like, yo, that was kind of hard, that was kind of cold, like, yo, you really call him a sellout. So at the round table, Jeremy does not speak up once about, you know, Danielle being a suspect. He just basically, you know, attests to Tony not being a suspect, essentially. So he voted for Ivar, I believe, or somebody else, or Tom. So he didn't say nothing about Danielle. Danielle was ready and waiting for him to speak on her. So him not speaking on Danielle basically helped Danielle's case, because no one really knows that, you know, you're being a suspect so far. Him kind of, like, speaking it hush hush to people, you know, if Danielle gets, is able to kill him or murder him, she would be in the clear because it wasn't like pointed out the round table. If you basically say like, oh, I'm suspecting this person at the round table to being the traitor, and then the next night you're killed, that's like red flag number one. Like, oh, he just suspected you and he killed you off. But because he didn't say nothing he didn't speak up at the round table, that basically helps Danielle. Like, if Danielle wants to kill Jeremy out this game, she can. Because the thing is that Bob the drag queen, he can't do nothing to Dylan for a couple more nights. Like, Dylan has to be banished, or he has to wait at least a few more nights before he gets Dylan. Because if he tries to come after Dylan, right away, they're gonna be like, oh, Dylan called him out and he's murdered, so they can't do that. So anyway, they get this little task to basically pick 3 names to go into a coffin, and out of those 3 names, they get to hammer a nail into one. So Bob the drag queen, he's being way too messy. He's saying, why can't Carolyn, be in the coffin? So, Boston Rob is like, no. Once he's put out a name, they're going to keep coming after that same name. So, no, don't do that. Even Danielle's like, no, she's not going to go for it. Why are you saying her name? So the thing is, they have to go into that bookcase, that hidden bookcase library thing, and have that discussion and talk about it and write these names. So to do that, they had to do that in plain sight. Had to find a way to hide in the bookcase library thing, and have a little deliberation and find these 3 names, write on paper and put in the thing. So he's asking Carolyn, I'm like, right out the gate, you picking one of your fellow teammates to be put into a coffin up for murder. Like, granted, yeah, she is a traitor, so she can't get murdered, but why are you selling out your teammate like that? Like, pick some random people and let them be in the coffin. It doesn't have to be Carolyn. So anyways, Carolyn, I feel a type of way that Bob the drag queen's already like using me as a scapegoat to be in this type of situation. Like, if you're ready to like maybe be one of these scapegoats right now, like how are you in being trustworthy right now? So anyways, Boston Rob, he's kind of like playing a pretty decent game, but he's kind of gonna get sussed out because after Tony called him a sellout, they're kind of like, yeah, I don't know about that, sir. Like, is he onto something? Is he really correct on being called a sellout? But anyways, they picked 3 names. One of the names are Jeremy. Like, Daniel was like, no, Jeremy has to be one of those names, like, for sure. And I think they called on 2 other names. But while that was happening, Gabby, well, people were like, is the castle getting smaller? Is people getting like going to sleep early? Like, what's going on? Like, where is everybody at? So Carolyn, she's walking around looking suspect. Gabby's like walking into rooms, and then Bob the drag queen, he being so loud in that room. I'm like, you're supposed to speak in secret, like you're in broad daylight. It's just a bookcase behind a wall. Like, yo, you need to calm down. He's speaking so loud, so loud, and I think somebody hearing it. Gabby, she like walks out. I think both Danielle and Carolyn comes out the room, and they're like laughing or whatever. And it looks like she might have saw them. We don't know, but it might be edited to that way that we might think they got caught. But if she sees 4 people coming out of a bookcase laughing, the Traitors gonna have a uphill valley to climb if they want to like make it out these games, because you're gonna get caught. I would say in terms of gameplay, I think Danielle's game is salvageable. Her game is salvageable because only Jeremy's onto her. Granted, she just needs to tone it down on speaking, up like that at, the breakfast table, whatever. Carolyn's playing the flawless game because nobody has even floated her name once. Nobody really trusts Boston Rob that much. So he's always going to be like, on somebody's radar, but no one really has anything to really say like, oh, he's a traitor. The only thing they might go off of is that Tony called him a sellout, which was kind of hardcore, but I mean, it is what it is. He had to save his teammate. Danielle, she's been, the second messiest game, but she is salvageable. Bob the drag queen, like, I don't know what is he doing, because him trying to be like, you know, controlling at the, you know, the turret, controlling at the round table, and then also like it's not helping his look at all. And you already have Dylan onto you. It's not helping you. It's not helping you. You need to clean it up, dude. You need to clean it up if you want to, you know, at least get far in this game. But he's playing the messiest traitor game right now. And I think sooner or later, you know, somebody's gonna be ready, like Carolyn, whoever is gonna be ready to give you up on a silver platter, you know, if you're gonna keep up that type of messy behavior. But other than that, these are the first 3 episodes of the Traitors US Season 3. It is a messy, cold world out there in these traitor streets. But, you know, it is what it is. This is a contestant. This is a show, whatever. I mean, I hope Danielle goes far, because I think she does have it, what it takes. I think it's very messy that when you get to the end, you don't have to tell if you're a traitor or not. You just get to the end. If there is a traitor in your midst, then you will know that the faithfuls didn't win. But he said you don't even have to reveal your identity once you get to the end. You know, if you are a traitor in the end, you just get your money. That's it. But, you know, just like how I think Sari had to reveal that she's a traitor, whatever, you know, they're like, you know, you know what, on this season, you don't even have to reveal if you're a traitor or not. But anyway, guys, if you like the video, comment down below, let me know your thoughts, comments, concerns, and subscribe to my channel, subscribe. And you guys watching this video, peace.